I'd like to wish you a happy 4th of July and give you an update on things, what I'm doing these days. I have a political group on Facebook called Political Today. I've had this group for over 10 years, ever since the Bush Reagan years, Carter years, and I had a blog before of that same name. And so I have been writing about politics until I got into TikTok. I'm here more involved with personality typing and getting to know yourself and how to interact with the world and with yourself better, which I much prefer than politics. Just to get it out of the way, I'm a liberal. I'm going to vote for Biden. I'd never dream of voting for Trump. He's a criminal, no character, whatever. All right, so I want to get that out of the way. I'm not a Trump fan. I'm not a Biden fan, to be honest with you, but my concerns mostly is about character. People today think that character doesn't matter. So as long as the guy agrees with me and he does what I think he should do, then I'm going to vote for him. Well, there's three types of character: people with no character, which is Trump; people with weak character, which includes most of us, including myself at times, okay? And then there's people with strong character, which are not always necessarily people who are Christians or religious, but people with strong character are people who the Bible describes being upright. There's a difference between being upright or righteous. Upright means that you are, as Christ grew up, he was of good reputation with man and God. That would be an upright person, a person of good character. But you don't have to necessarily believe in God or Jesus Christ to be a person of character. Character really only has to do with your behavior and what you demonstrate by your behavior. And so Trump's behavior bothers me more than Biden's behavior. So there you have my point of view in a nutshell. But that's not why I'm commenting on this video, because I quit my group Political Today. I do that periodically. I just get fed up with the banter and the spin and the bullshit, and it just goes on and on and on. So fortunately, I have administrators or other people to handle that for me who'll take care of the group. If I didn't, I would have deleted it and shut it down a long time ago, because there's just a lot of nonsense out there that people love to entertain and be entertained by. And so developing character really has to do with self-knowledge, knowing who yourself first. You got to know yourself. You have to be able to know yourself in order to take the log out of your eye before you try to take the speck out of your brother's eye, right? So if you're just pointing fingers all the time, as they say, there's one finger that's pointing at you, okay? And so, three fingers pointing at you, right? So you have to start to look at yourself more, be more objective about your personality and the way not just the way you see yourself, but how do you actually come across, all right? And so that's important. Your reputation is how you come across. It's not always necessarily, and hopefully there's some connection with the way you come across, with who you are, and that would be a person of character. A person of a good character is someone who comes across in a ways that's somewhat in alignment with their real identity and who they actually are, who they are within themselves, right? And so the people who have no character are generally people who are degenerate, perverts, and this is what their fruits that you see that they demonstrate, and this is what they promote as well, because they're looking for other people like themselves that they want to promote, right? They promote the evil. That's what makes a world something evil, is to do with what you're promoting, not just what you're believing, okay? And so personality does relate to character, but character is something more than personality. Your character is really the way you practice your life and living your life, and how you behave, and how you see yourself in the proper way, or you don't see yourself and you're blind, right? So Christ saw the Pharisees. He says, because you think you see, you're blind, right? And that's because by the very fact that they felt they were upholding the law and they were of a certain character, well, he saw through all of that, and he saw that they were of no character, which is of no consequence at all. And so they didn't like that. Right away they put they were out to kill him, right? And so you see, there's always a struggle going on underneath the surface, which is the spiritual one, and then the worldly one, the carnal world, and the spiritual world. So if you want to be perceptive, then you really need to look at things more, be more spiritually minded, okay? In the way you look at things, right? If you're just carnally minded, then you're just looking at the ends results, but you're not thinking about the means and how you arrived at those conclusions or how you arrived at that end, right? So self-examination, Socrates says an unexamined life is not worth living. But that's been echoed as well through theologians and biblical teachers like Calvin, John Calvin. There's a lot of misunderstanding, I think, about John Calvin because a lot of what's called neo-Calvinism isn't Calvinism at all. But John Calvin himself believed in this sovereignty of God, and that the sovereign through God's will and through His sovereignty is what sustains life and every human being on this planet. Okay. And so that was really the number one the story of John Calvin. You read his book, Institutes of the Christian Religion. The first chapter is called Know Yourself, right? So know yourself is really where you begin when you start to learn the truth or learn to examine spiritual things. You begin to develop a truer view or perspective about yourself and what you are and who you are. And only as you grow in that understanding about yourself, and then does the issues that relate to God starts to take on more value or meaning for you, okay? And so I'm just giving you this update. I quit my group Political Today. I'm going to be posting more on TikTok now. Not on politics, but I will entertain your whatever you want to comment about it. That's fine. I'm just not going to engage because I want to so much unless you actually say something that I agree that's interesting, okay? Something that I can identify with that gives me some thought, you see? Because I don't want to make you think the way I do. See, I want you to think for yourself. I want you to make decisions based on your informed citizenry, right? I want you to be informed. And the way you are informed, you have to inform yourself, right? You want to learn the Bible? Read it. You want to know about the spiritual meaning of the words that you read in the Bible? Well, then you got to be spiritually minded to understand it. It's that simple. And so people are carnally minded. They don't really understand the things of the spiritual realm because the spiritual realm and the natural realm, you might say, are not... the carnal realm, I should say, are not really compatible. You have to find ways to see things in the spiritual dimension through which God does see us. That's as simple as that. You see yourself the way God does, then you have some real self-knowledge. If you think of yourself in some way other than what is true of you, well, then you lack knowledge, true knowledge of yourself. Okay, so I'm going to be commenting more here when I can. I'm sitting here in my music studio and I'm just working on music all day long. That's what I do. I'm a teacher. I'm a recording producer. You name it. I've done it all. But for our benefit, I find that you have to develop yourself. And the more developed you are as a person, the easier it is for me to relate to you or to help you in those other areas you want my help. Okay, so with music, it helps to know yourself too. All right? Okay, we'll talk to you later. Bye.